So today's job market, I don't even know where to start because there's so much to talk about. Let's talk about people that are older. Employers are complaining so much in so many businesses, they can't find workers. Or they'll schedule interviews with people, and so many people don't show up for the interview and don't even call with the courtesy to say, I'm sorry, I'm not coming. I'm going to do something else for work, or whatever it is. I mean, common courtesy, come on. If you schedule an interview with an employer, please have the good common sense and judgment, if you're not going to go, to call them and tell them you're not coming to the interview. I just can't imagine that. But anyway, the older workers that employers used to just dispense like a used Kleenex, now more and more employers are like, why don't we hire some of these people? And it's not everywhere, but it's definitely a trend because I'm seeing it a lot in the business and financial press about employers that are specifically targeting older workers to fill these jobs they've had trouble filling and saying, gosh, these people show up for work. They're on time. They work. Who knew? There was never a reason for the age discrimination from employers that I could see other than just being ageist. And the reality is the fact that there's more opportunity is great, but the other thing is flexibility. And people repeatedly in surveys say they value a flexible workplace so much. How many hours you have to work in a week? The hybrid thing, if you're working in an office environment. When do you have to be there? When do you not have to be there? In fact, I shared on the podcast last month that employers that are more flexible with worker schedules have actually had better success hiring workers than places where the employers are dictatorial about the work location and work schedule. And that's a big duh, right? Because people value having that flexibility so much. And so specifically to you, I'm speaking to you, if you are a worker who was downsized, likely because of your age, and you feel like there's no opportunity out there, I want to tell you the marketplace is changing and has changed at so many places. There very well may be opportunity for you out there. And a Bankrate survey found that almost 90% of workers are even willing to give up something from their employer just to have more flexibility in their job, when they do it, where they do it. And employers at the same time, in jobs where you don't have to be physically present, there are a lot of employers that are paranoid that workers aren't working if they're not there. If they can't see them with their own 2 eyes, or in my case, 4 eyes since I wear glasses, if they can't see them, they don't know that they're actually not loafing. And yeah, there are people going to loaf. And guess what? There are people who loaf in the office too. And you can tell over time who's producing as they should and who's not. You don't have to have eyeballs on them. But there is this corporate culture thing. There's a real advantage in having people together, especially for people that are young out of high school, trade school, college, whatever. If they've never been in a corporate type work environment, being there in a physical environment with other people is really valuable. Collaborative effort in so many jobs is so important, and it's so hard to get the corporate culture, to get the corporate norms, to get that collaboration when people are coming and going all different ways. Well, there was a story I read about J.M. Smucker. It was a Wall Street Journal story. about how they came up with a whole different way to do hybrid work. Obviously, people who work in factories, for them making jams, jellies, Crustables, whatever they make. Anyway, people who work in a factory, they got to be present to win. I mean, you got to be there running the machinery. But people that are in office or sales or whatever jobs, not necessarily true. And so what they came up with, you know how so many employers require you be present in the office 2 or 3 out of 5 days? What they came up with is they came up with core weeks, which you have to be present in the office the whole week. And the plan they came up with is 22 weeks a year. The other 30 weeks of the year, you can work wherever. They don't care if it's Timbuktu, as long as you got an internet connection in Timbuktu. But wherever you are, you can work. It could be anywhere on the globe, anywhere around the United States. In their case, overwhelmingly, people live elsewhere in Ohio and just do long commutes the 22 weeks, or come and stay in a hotel or something during those weeks, and then live elsewhere the rest of the time. And so we're not there yet on how to make all this hybrid-y stuff work yet. But it requires continuous experimentation. And these bosses who say, you will do what we say or else. Yeah, they may be able to force you, but what's going to happen to their company over time if they don't honor and recognize what workers say overwhelmingly if they work in anything other than a place where being present is mandatory for what you do because you do your work on machinery or whatever, that employers who don't recognize what the workplace wants don't get the quality workplace of other places and will be less profitable over time. Promise.